Hello friends, I'm Tim Wildsmith.
And I'm Becca Wildsmith.
And this is Ask Me Anything. Okay, are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Okay, so here's what happened. I reached out to all of my channel members on YouTube a few weeks ago and I said, hey, we're going to record a video where you get to ask me any question you want. It can be about Bible reviews and YouTube and all this stuff, or it can be about anything. There's no limit to the questions that you could ask me. The members blew me away. There were literally,
you did not disappoint.
So many questions. So what we've done is we've picked about 25 or 30 of our favorite questions, and I'm going to let Becca be the moderator. So she's going to say who asked the question.
Okay.
You're going to ask it to me.
Okay.
I have no idea how long this is going to take. We're just going to have fun, and we will see how it goes.
So let's ask you anything.
Let's ask me anything.
All right. Well, let's start with something fun.
Okay.
This question comes from Ryan Todd. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
It's truly an ask me anything. Ryan, pineapple on pizza. I know Becca's answer, and my answer is the opposite. No. I do not like pineapple on anything, including pizza.
I feel like, why not? It's adventurous. It's a sweet, salty mix.
Now, I am a big pizza person. We are big pizza people, but we have learned to split the pizza down the middle, and I get half what I want, and she gets half what we want, because we are not the same pizza toppings people.
Marriage.
Hashtag marriage.
Yeah, I like it.
Hashtag
Great
compromise.
Great question. Okay, this question is from Matt Constance.
Okay.
With the rise in popularity...
Matt in Australia.
Yes.
Such a great guy.
Yeah.
G'day, Matt.
With the rise in popularity of niche-style Bibles, like Bibliotheca and Humble Lamb, would you ever consider developing your own Bible project?
That is a good question, Matt. Yes. We have talked about a couple of ideas. As many of you know, Becca is an artist and a graphic designer, and so I have mentioned the idea of including Becca's artwork in a couple of Bible projects. I would love to see something like a scripture journal set that used your artwork. And let's just say this, Matt. I actually am working on something right now, and this is the very first time I have mentioned it, and I'm not going to say anything else than that, because it's not public knowledge, and it hasn't even been...
That was like a little bit of like a little Easter egg.
It might not even happen. It might not happen. But yes, I have some ideas for Bibles, and getting to see so many of them through these reviews gives me some good ideas. So yeah, I would love to work on that in the future, and that might be coming sooner or later.
I hope you added one of those little dings. Okay, this one is from Rand Hayes.
Okay, Rand.
Do you own your one Bible? And if so, what is it?
That's a question. People talk about the one, and I did a video last year with this Bible right here. This is the Logos. You have a rebind from Logos. This is the ESV Personal Reference Bible, and I said that this was the one, but then I qualified it as saying when it comes to premium personal size ESV Bibles.
Okay. So very specific.
One of the problems with being a Bible reviewer is that you see so many Bibles. Yeah. And so I have like the one in this translation, or the one in that translation, or the one for when I want to be going to church, but no, I don't have the one. And again, that's because I literally I'm in a room surrounded by a couple hundred Bibles, and because of what I do with reviews and videos, I get to see so many, so it's really hard for me to say like the one. I've thought about, let me know, would you like to see me do a video where I do like my favorite Bible in 10 different translations? That's something I've thought about doing. Your
favorite of every translation.
In releasing the book this year about Bible translations, like stuff like that.
I love it.
That would be
so
a fun
if you had
idea.
to pick like one person to spend every like waking minute or whatever with, who would that be?
I'm trying to think of which person in history I would want to spend. It's you!
Okay. Let's do another. Okay, Kevin Carey wants to know how tall you are.
Kevin, I would like to think that I am a full 6 feet tall, but it's probably more like 5'11 and a half.
Yeah, I think you can round up.
It's funny, we were just talking about this. When I was a kid, I thought that being 6'2" was the perfect height because my childhood hero was a baseball player named Ryne Sandberg for the Chicago Cubs, and he was, at least it said on the back of his baseball cards that he was 6'2". So I didn't quite make it there. I'm like 5'11 and a half or 5'11 and 3/4. But
well, and you're shrinking. You know that, right? Like the older you get, your ears and your nose never stop growing, and you start shrinking.
That's good for you because you have such tiny little ears that maybe one day they'll be normal size.
What?
I'm about 6 foot tall, Kevin.
All right. From Joshua David 0605. I'm assuming that's not your biblical name. Your biblical name? Okay. What was your job before YouTube?
Oh, well, I still have a couple of jobs before YouTube. So before I started doing the YouTube channel Bible Reviews thing, I've had a career in ministry. So coming out of college, I was a worship leader almost full time and led worship at a few different churches. And then I got into pastoral ministry and did, I was a youth pastor for about 6 years. And now I work full time at Belmont University. I'm one of the college ministers on campus. And Becca and I work part time together leading worship at a local church. So it's a lot of ministry. I worked in the music industry for a couple of years.
Yep.
So yeah, but it's mostly been either worship leading or pastoral ministry, which I'm still involved with. So
what was your first job ever?
My first job ever was my dad worked at like a corporation and they had a warehouse and I was the guy who like cleaned the warehouse. Yeah, it was nothing fun. I was 14 years old. Yeah.
It's preparing you for building character.
That's right.
Okay. Elijah Vaughn wants to know, what would be the best small Bible to preach from?
Best small Bible to preach from, in my opinion, would be the Personal Size Quintel from Schuyler Bibles.
I have one of those.
You have one of those. I have one of those. It is a really great Bible because it's small, but the typeface, even though it's only like an 8.5 point type, it's very readable to me. So that's the Bible. I take an NIV PSQ with me to church every week because my pastor preaches from the NIV. I think it's really easy to read from. So yeah, if you were preaching from it or speaking from it, I think the PSQ is a good small
That's
Bible
a great answer.
option. Yeah.
All right, this one is from David Stein.
Okay, David.
Tell me about your watch collection.
Ooh.
I have heard you talk about it a little and saw a cool dive watch in one of your videos, but couldn't pick out what bit it was.
Very good question. I like that. So the watch that I wear in almost all of my videos is by a company called Vaer, V-A-E-R. This specific watch is called the D7 Atlantic. This is actually a Swiss-made watch with a Swiss movement, but it's not crazy expensive. It's a really cool company from Southern California. So the story is, we lived in Oxford for a few months in 2020, and I was able to go and see N.T. Wright teach every Monday morning through the book of, we were doing Philippians, and he would take his watch off when he started to speak and put it on the little podium so he could know what time it was. And I remember thinking, oh, I should get a watch. Like, that's kind of a classic thing for a man to have.
You had an iWatch, but like an Apple Watch, but you never really used it.
Didn't love it. Yeah. And so I looked for a long time. I was looking for something vintage. I actually don't really like these like silver metal style dive watches. I didn't. And then I found Vaer. So I actually got a couple of more like military style watches with canvas straps. And then I found this one. I got a really great deal on it. And so yeah, it has a Swiss movement in it. It's a fantastic watch. I've got 2 or 3 watches from Vaer now. I really love them as a company. And the cool story about this is we went to a very fancy wedding.
Yes.
About a year and a half ago, and I saw people there, men who were wearing watches that like are worth more than my car.
Yeah, Rolexes and like fancy bougie things.
And multiple people commented that they liked my watch. And so the fact that I was able to kind of hold my own with people who had really nice bougie watches.
You don't have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, so I love Vaer. They're great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
great. Okay.
Good question.
This question's from Jan D.
Jan.
Yep. What kind of music do you listen to?
Ooh. Jan. I grew up.
A question for a musician. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I grew up with like contemporary Christian music in the 80s and 90s. That was kind of my sweet spot, you know. And
Jars of Clay, DC Talk.
Yeah, that was definitely the 90s.
Chapman.
Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Yeah.
I met him we live in Nashville. I met Stephen Curtis at a Starbucks one time, and I was like so excited to see him, and he was so down to earth and so sweet. Cool. And like we had a lovely conversation just standing in line at Starbucks. But in the 90s, I kind of, you know, as a teenager, I got into like, you know, alternative rock and like the 90s alternative stuff. And then I got into like Coldplay. We've seen Coldplay a bunch of times in concert. I love singer-songwriters. Wilco is a favorite band. Jason Isbell. I really love kind of like singer-songwriter stuff. I'm not really into a lot of country. She likes country. I don't really listen to hip-hop or rap or anything like that. It's mostly kind of like guitar-driven songwriter.
Folk, singer-songwriter.
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I like. I listen to a lot of worship music too. Yeah, modern worship music.
I love it.
What about you?
Great. I love Country.
You like classic country.
I like classic country, 90s country. I like bluegrass. I like singer-songwriter. I like to be able to hear someone's voice and the instrumentation. I love a catchy melody. I'm not really huge into like poppy type, popular pop, whatever they call it, top 40 stuff. I like the classics. Yeah. Love James Taylor. Bonnie Raitt. Yep. Joni Mitchell.
We've seen James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt in concert together. It was great.
Awesome. Yeah,
it was great.
And we also saw Carole King and James Taylor together. We've seen some great concerts. Yeah, we have. So anyway, all that to say, good tunes. And I love worship music, contemporary worship music, as well as old hymns. All right. From Stephen John. Hi, Tim. What a nice way to start the question.
Hi, Stephen.
What is or has been your favorite yearly devotional?
Ooh, easily. The first one that comes to mind is My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. Okay. A guy named Tom Hemphill gave me, it was from my church in Omaha, Nebraska, gave me a copy of that with a quote from, I think it was an A.W. Tozer quote in the front of it. And I read through My Utmost for His Highest in my first and second year of college and really loved that one. And it was actually written to college students. I think that's why Tom gave it to me. So that's definitely been one that I returned to.
It has aged well.
A lot, yeah. It's really great.
Okay, I have another question from Ryan Todd.
Ryan, number 2.
This could be a whole video.
Okay.
Build your perfect Bible from the ground up. Size, translation, paper, font, margins, columns, references, cover, liner, ribbon, stamping, etc. Maybe pick 3 or 4 of those things.
No, that's seriously. I should save that.
Video?
I should do a video.
All right,
Ryan,
we're coming back to that,
I'm going to make that video. Build your perfect Bible, and I'm going to pick the paper, the font.
Build your own adventure.
I'm going to take from different publishers. So the paper from this one, and I'm going to.
I love it.
That's a good idea, Ryan. I'm going to put that on my video punch list, and that will be coming to you sooner than later.
There you go.
Okay.
From Cody Muir. What is your favorite fiction, book, or series?
Ooh, fiction, book, or series. What do you use?
I was about to say Harry Potter, but then I'm like, some people are like, no to Harry Potter. So.
I'm sure there's people watching this who think we were not
allowed to read it when we were. Well, actually, we were kind of older.
I chose not to, but I read it last year.
I remember.
And I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite.
Okay. What's your favorite?
My favorite book is called Let the Great World Spin by Colum McCann.
That's not fiction, though, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. It's a book, fantastic book. Found that at a local bookstore here called Parnassus 10 or 15 years ago. I read it multiple times. I love Jess Walter.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful Ruins. I've read a couple times, but his most recent book, or maybe 2 books ago, I can't remember the name of it. You didn't like it, but I loved it.
The one about the brothers?
Yes. I want
to say Cold Mountain. That's not it.
It's not it. But Jess Walter books are great. You know who I really like? Shout out to my friend Mark Bertrand from Bible Design Blog Days. He has a series of murder detective novels.
Yeah.
Roland March novels. There's 3 of them. I read the first 2 and I'm getting ready to read the 3rd one.
You liked the
They're good. They're really good.
You really did like those. I should read those.
They're great.
You also liked the what's the one that's the series as well? Murder Mysteries with what's his name? Cormoran Strike.
No, I only read one of those. We watched some of those on TV.
Cuckoo's Calling.
They were fine.
Excuse me. Okay. Tim and I have different tastes in books as well.
Oh my!
But that's okay.
She
I'll be like, you're gonna love this. Trash.
Yeah, she likes bad books.
One man's trash is another person's, brilliant novel. So, okay. Kathy Hahn. Hi, Tim. Another great, I like when people start with a hello. Do you have a book on faith that has made the most impact on your life? In what way?
So I'd go back to My Utmost for His Highest for sure. And then a standard book, not a devotional, that I would talk about it's called Dallas Willard's, what's it called? Spirit of the Disciplines.
Oh.
I read it for the first time when I was in seminary. I've read it multiple times since then. It's about how does the life of faith play out in how we live our lives.
Yep.
And kind of creating spiritual rhythms and disciplines. A lot of the stuff that, if you're familiar with John Mark Comer, the ideas that he has been talking about recently with the ruthless elimination of hurry and his new book, which is about spiritual disciplines, practicing the way. It's kind of in that same vein about practicing your faith, living it out.
Actually being able to do it, actually giving you steps to practically.
Yeah, I think that's a really meaningful book for.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like this question. Next question. George M. Hillman. How did you and your wife meet? Don't you just love her? What brought you to Nashville originally? That second part wasn't
Dr. Hillman, he donated some Bibles to the seminary professor.
Hillman.
Donated some Bibles to the giveaway. What was the question? How did we meet
and what brought you to Nashville?
These are kind of the same answer. I came to Nashville to attend Belmont University, and that's where I met this girl. Mm-hmm. We have Belmont used to do which is where I work now. They did a matriculation ceremony for freshmen in the very beginning. They still do, but it's kind of different. And Becca's dad snapped a photo of her outside. And I have
with the other, 500 new students or whatever.
I have that photo in my office because if you look in the background, you can see me way off in the distance in the background of the photo. So it was before we even knew each other. So we knew each other all throughout college. Mm-hmm. But then the summer before our senior year, we were on new student orientation together, staff, and we really hit it off. And I fell for her. She fell for me. We dated our entire senior year at Belmont.
We sure did.
And
then this joker broke up with me.
I did.
That's another video right there.
That's another video. I broke up with Becca right before graduation, and then we were apart for 6 years.
Yeah.
It was a wild time, and then we reconnected and got married. So there was a 6-year gap.
Yep.
Dumbest mistake of my life.
What have we said before? We've been dating this whole time. We just dated other people exclusively.
That's right. I like to say this year, 2024, will be 20 years that we've been together. We just didn't talk for about 6 of those years.
Yeah. We remained friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, great question, Dr. Hillman. Okay. Joe Mobley. If the Bible were only printed one way, which would you prefer? Single column paragraph, single column verse by verse, or double column? Can I guess?
Yes.
I'm going to say that you would prefer single column paragraph.
That's correct.
Is it?
Yes.
All right. Do a little ding, ding, ding.
I love verse by verse for certain reasons. I love having a 2-column Bible for certain reasons. But if I could only pick one, I would go with a single column paragraph Bible. Very nice reading experience.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great question. Okay. Avinash Bilrick.
Avinash.
Do you like watching sports, and what is your favorite team?
Ooh, yes. I love watching sports. I listen to if there's any littles out there, if you know what I mean, when I mean that, I listen to a sports podcast multiple times a week. It's called The Tony Kornheiser Show. Tony is a personality on ESPN, and he has a podcast, and I listen to that religiously. I have for a decade. But yeah, I love baseball. I love football. I love basketball. I love them all. I grew up as an Atlanta Braves fan, so I've kind of always had a soft spot for the Braves. As I mentioned earlier, the Chicago Cubs second baseman Ryan Sandberg was a hero of mine as a kid, so I loved him. And then my parents both went to the University of Alabama, and so I've kind of been born and raised in an Alabama football house. Mm-hmm. So even though when I was a kid I kind of was into Nebraska football because we lived there, Alabama has always been like the family.
Yeah, the tide has always rolled.
The tide has always rolled in our house. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay, C.S. Cummings wants to know what your favorite food is.
Favorite?
I'll answer for you. Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets or his wife's cacio e pepe.
Wow. So
is that right?
Those are great answers. I love pizza. I love cheeseburgers. I had a really great cheeseburger in New York recently. But yeah, Chick-fil-A,
you love a chocolate croissant.
I was born in Atlanta and was eating Chick-fil-A as a small child, and then we lived in the Midwest and did not have it for the huge part of my life. So now I eat Chick-fil-A as often as I can.
Yeah, there's literally one by our house.
And yes, I love Italian food, and Becca makes a fantastic cacio e pepe. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that. So,
I love it.
Thanks, CS.
This is not as much of a question as it is maybe an idea for a future video.
Okay.
Which could be controversial.
Okay.
Johnny Danielson says, I'm still waiting for that tattoo tour, Jen.
Johnny the tattoo. Okay, let's do it.
No.
Let's do it. Let's just show a couple of them. Here, we'll just talk about it.
He's derobing on video.
I've got a t-shirt on. So Johnny, here we go.
Shield your eyes.
Here we go. I've got, let's see here. So we've got, this is my first tattoo up here. Can you see it? It's a little cross with some Chinese characters.
That you think says worshiper?
I think it says worshiper. I was 18 when I got this. You can tell that I drew it myself and had it tattooed permanently.
There's flames
on
that
my
have
body.
faded that are
They've
coming
faded
out of
a little bit.
Yeah.
The tattoo artist asked me a few years later if I wanted to cover it up, and I said no. I want to remember what I thought was cool when I was 18, which is kind of tacky. So this is like a cityscape that's in black and gray with like a really beautiful color sunrise. And then on the front of this arm is my family crest. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a blue shield with 3 sheep, and there's wings coming out of it, kind of a traditional family crest. And then there's a banner that says, "Life is a journey," which is my dad's favorite saying. And then if you see under here, on the inside of my arm, that little symbol right there is the logo from the 1982 World's Fair. Anybody know where that was?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee, which I went to
in utero.
In the womb. So for my dad and for my mom.
Yep.
The left arm is more of like a Japanese. My father was born in Japan. So this is more of like a Japanese style clouds, lightning bolts. There's hearts, and there's a big heart on my forearm, and it says, "Love never fails."
With an asterisk.
It does have an asterisk. That's a nod to a song that I wrote when I was a singer-songwriter. So love never fails, asterisk meaning our love does fail, but God's love does not.
Does not.
There's a big tree of life in here. Another old tattoo from my younger days, a photo that I took on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic. So I had that tattooed on my arm. You can see there's a bird. I have 2 birds on my chest. Those were done by my friend Russ. People have noticed that I have a bee on my ring finger. It's not for Bible, it's for Bruce. He was my favorite college roommate. Shout out to Bruce. It's for Becca. It's for Becca. And what else? I have
got a Last Supper on his back.
I don't even know if I'm going to put a picture of the Last Supper in there. I have a large tattoo on my back of the Last Supper of Christ.
We call it Scary Jesus because it's a very unusual style of art.
It's a peculiar tattoo.
Let's just say that the original person that was going to get it decided not to get it. And the tattoo artist was like,
"I'll get it."
I've got
the bear. I have
leg.
a very large bear tattooed on my right thigh, which is probably not appropriate to show that at this point either. So
I don't think so.
That's a little quick overview of some of the tattoos.
I think that was great.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do little thumbnails of them as you talk about them, like pop pop pop?
That would be funny if I did. I don't know if I necessarily want you all looking at my body like that, but
yeah, it's a little.
Yeah,
awkward, but
so
you'll get a different.
Maybe
set
when
of
I'm planning on getting a little bit ripped this year, doing some workout, eating healthier. So maybe if I get like shredded, I'll do like a video.
That'll be great with the cacio e pepe and Chick-fil-A we're working on.
I'm joking, exactly.
Sorry, Louie's over here.
Louie, my guy.
Okay, so I'm glad you were able to cover that. So from Phil R, what was your favorite course in seminary?
Ooh.
And what was your least favorite? What Bible did you mostly use during your studies?
Oh, the Bible question is easy. I mostly used BibleGateway.com. I just used online stuff so I could hop around. That's part of the reason why I got into getting nicer Bibles, physical copies of the Bible, was at the end of seminary. I just wanted a Bible so I didn't have to read online. I really loved church history classes, like the patristic era, early church history. I remember looking at you saying, how does everybody not know this? Like some of these like basic 101 level seminary courses about church history and theology should be like basic understanding for all Christians. I loved preaching and hermeneutics classes. I spent a lot of time focused on biblical studies, and like I did a deep dive into Romans with Dr. Tommy Givens at Fuller, which was fantastic. I did Galatians, so I would do books of the Bible. I really loved that sort of thing. Classes I didn't like. I'm not really very philosophical, so some of the more like heady kind of philosophical classes were a struggle for me, and some of the deeper kind of big theological thinking was stressful.
How about like Greek and all that kind
of stuff? Oh yeah,
Greek and Hebrew.
Greek and Hebrew were not fun. Not fun at all. No, I did not like Greek and Hebrew.
I feel like I remember you doing like flashcards and memorizing like words and stuff.
Yes, and alphabets, and it was rough. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple people. Let's see. Both Colin Handy and Darlene Roberts had similar questions. How do you find the time to balance family, church life, work, and still bring such joy to your viewers?
Well, that's a nice way to put that. I don't know that I have found a good way to balance it. we are busy. Mm-hmm. We have a lot going on. We both have full-time day jobs. We both have side hustles. I would consider YouTube to be my side hustle, mm-hmm. although as the channel continues to grow and it takes up more time, that's definitely something to think about. Writing the book, working at the church. I mean, those are all things that we do. So, and yet we find enough time to sit on the couch and eat dinner and watch TV together. And okay, keep going.
Okay. From Rusty Morris, can you talk about your time at Oxford? Why were you there?
Oh, yeah.
Oxford, England.
So, speaking of seminary, I was finishing up at Fuller. One of my preaching professors recommended me to apply for a postgraduate fellowship. It was called the Parish Pulpit Fellowship, where you had to basically make a plan and pitch it to them about spending a year studying preaching in a context outside of your own, and it had to be abroad. And so I kind of pieced together this thing about trying in South Africa and Australia, and your dad knew someone in Oxford that I connected with, and he pointed me towards Wycliffe Hall. Wycliffe Hall is the kind of evangelical permanent private hall in the college system at Oxford, and I reached out to them. I met Jo, mm-hmm. and she worked in admissions, and she was like, we have this thing called a visiting scholars program where you're not a full-time student, you're not getting a degree, but you can come and participate in the life of the college and the life of the university. And so I applied for that. They accepted me at Oxford, and then COVID hit and the whole Fuller side of things fell apart. But Jo was like, hey, are you still planning to come? Like, you can get into the country even though COVID's happening. And Becca and I were like, yeah. So we did a GoFundMe and raised money from friends and family, and we went. And so I got to be a student at Wycliffe Hall in this visiting scholars program, which, again, I didn't have to pay tuition. I didn't have to take tests or write papers, but I got to go sit in on classes and participate, listen to N.T. Wright speak, go to events. We got to live in Oxford and go explore a little bit. It was a really
special,
really cool adventure. We had the opportunity to go back, but then they went into a second national lockdown when we came home for Christmas, and so
couldn't get back into the country.
Yeah, we've been back to visit, and we have some great friends there, and we would love to spend some more time there in the future. But it was a great experience.
I agree. Okay, so I'm going to combine a couple of questions.
Okay.
So one is from Skelly and one is from Amptown 1.
What's up, y'all?
They're asking about what are some other interests you have other than premium Bibles, other than your faith. I liked the way this was, where Amptown 1 asked it. What would you do if you could do anything for a living? What are some other things that are interesting to you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so other than, I spend all of my time doing Bible review stuff and writing this book about the Bible, mm-hmm. and I would say
a lot of your free time is spent focusing on that. But
there's a couple of things that I do that in my head I thought, like, when I'm on my phone. One is the New York Times crossword puzzle app. I don't actually do the I used to do the crossword every single day. Now I do the Wordle and the spelling bee
and the match game.
The matching game, Connections. I saw someone, we were recently in New York, and I saw someone on the subway doing Connections, and I was like, I totally nailed that one today. So I like to do,
got genius level 2.
I like word games and stuff like that, Sudoku.
Yeah.
And then I would consider myself a bit of a cinephile.
100%.
I love movies.
Yeah.
I talked earlier about I listened to the Tony Kornheiser podcast. I also listened to a podcast called The Big Picture, which is a film podcast. So
they review films. They talk about films. They rewatch things. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be an actor. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor, and that would still be
you
like
were
a
an
dream.
Actor.
I did. I was in theater productions and things like that.
You were in a movie.
Oh, that's right. I was in an Eddie Murphy movie. I was like skateboarder number 2 in like the worst reviewed Eddie Murphy movie of all time.
And didn't what's his name offer you like a Coke or
Jeff Goldblum was in that movie. I met Jeff Goldblum. He bought me a Coke.
That's a pretty good story.
It was on South Beach in Miami. We lived in Miami for a couple of years. Honestly, my dream job would be writing, and I'm getting to do that this year. Like, I'm writing the book, and these people probably don't know that I wrote a novel. I started working on it about a decade ago, and then I finished the first draft, and it's time. It all got sidetracked because of seminary and my ministry career. But I'd really love to be a novelist and to write and do more of that. So those are my things.
I like it. That's good. Those are all very true. All right, from Carol McGuire, what denomination church do you attend?
Okay, we currently go to Crevewood Baptist Church. We are on staff at Crevewood Baptist Church, which is historically Southern Baptist. If you know much about the Southern Baptist Church, I would say it's not what I'd call like each. What a lot of people don't know about Baptist churches is that each church is locally autonomous, and so I would say we are not like. We're definitely Southern Baptist, but the church is not like heavy-handed Southern Baptist. It's kind of in the middle a little bit. If you know what the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship is, I think they play in both of those sandboxes a little bit. I have been on staff at a Southern Baptist church, two Southern Baptist churches, at an evangelical free church in the Midwest, as well as a church that was part of the Acts 29 network. And so I'm kind of a little bit of a denominational mutt. I don't really like, when I was a kid, my parents, we would bounce around a lot, and my parents would be like, we're going to find a local church where the pastor preaches from the Bible and they have great kids ministries. So we were Baptist, we were Presbyterian, we were evangelical free, we were non-denominational. You know, we kind of have a little bit of experience of everything. Somehow we've kind of landed in Baptist world here in Tennessee for the past decade or so. But I wouldn't necessarily, I am actually this is kind of an announcement, I'm getting ready to be ordained by our church. And so I will be an ordained Baptist minister at the end of that. So I definitely think I claim Baptist historically, and that kind of line of thinking theologically is kind of where I line up pretty well. So
love it.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Here we go. Who's it from?
Scott Chesser.
Scott.
How's that book coming along?
Hey! Scott! When this video comes out, a couple weeks ago, I did a book update video, which is funny because I recorded that before there were some other updates. So here's the update to the update. You can definitely go watch the video from a couple weeks ago to hear more about the update. But the update is, I now have received the book back from my editor, Dale, and now it's time for me to edit with all of his feedback. So you read it, my parents read it, you guys gave me a bunch of feedback, I cleaned everything up, I went through it myself. So I would say the manuscript that I submitted in November was probably like, theoretically, like the third or fourth draft, in honesty. Now Dale sent it back to me and I'm working my way through, and he did an incredible job.
He's an incredible editor.
Yeah, like giving me, fixing some of the things that, Dale, if you're watching this, I recognize that I used the passive voice quite a bit. And you were pushing me to be more active voice, and I disagreed with you. He hasn't seen my responses to his edits. I disagreed with him in a couple of places, but gave me so much thoughtful feedback and said, hey, I see what you're doing here. Why don't you try doing it this way or that way? And so I'm working my way through it now with Dale's edits, and then we're going to lock it down. We might go back and forth a little bit more. And then we're going to lock the manuscript. And then it's like we've already started talking about cover designs. And I mentioned in that last video, what do you guys think about me reading it? The plan right now is for me to record the audiobook. And it looks like I said fall 2019, the current tentative date. Should I announce this?
No, I would wait. Do a different video.
Okay, we'll do a different video. We actually have a date now, but
we do. You should keep some things in your back pocket.
I'm so sorry. We will announce. We'll save when we get the cover.
Yes.
We will announce the cover and the actual release date. We'll do that in one big video. Yes. But everything's going well. And like I shared in that last video, I've got a bunch of really cool ideas for videos and stuff around Bible translations, like my favorite Bible in every translation and things like that. So, Louie, come up here. You want to make an appearance? Come here. Come here. Come on. Here he is. This is our guy. In answer to what do we love to do when we're not doing Bibles, it's just hang out with this guy.
He's literally the sweetest boy.
Louie's been in our lives for about 4 months, and it has been such a blessing. He is so sweet. He's helped us slow down a little bit. After we're done recording this video, we're going to take him on a walk. Do you want to go on a walk? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay, we're not quite ready to go. I know that was not very kind.
Tail's going.
He's literally leaving. He's like going outside. It's okay.
Buddy.
Okay, we're going to leave soon.
I know.
So we're done?
That's it. I think we have to go for a walk. Louie, you want to go for a walk?
Do you want to go for a walk, Louie?
Do you want to go for a walk?
You want to go for a walk? Oh, he's so excited.
You want to go for a walk?
Tell us.
You want to go for a walk?
Do you want to go for a walk? Tell us.
Speak.
Oh,
good boy.
Okay, Sit.
Okay, good boy.
Louie, sit. Louie, sit.
Good. Oh boy. Well, that's all, folks. That's all, folks. That's all. Whoa! He's gone. He's gone. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go get suited up because it's -5 degrees out.
This was Ask Me Anything. Shout out to all of my channel members who submitted questions. This was so much fun. Shout out to Becca. Here he comes. Shout out to Becca for being part of this. He's about to knock the camera over, I can tell. We love you, Louie. This is wild. This is not what I was expecting, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Love you guys.
We'll see y'all next time.
Bye. Look at that face.
Good boy.
Look at that face.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna go get
are you the best dog? Are you wanna go for a walk outside? Wee!